Girls of Reddit, what makes a guy creepy? No self-awareness or notion of personal boundaries, like when guys follow you around public places or follow you home intentionally and don't seem to understand what's really unsettling about that. I don't know if it's because I live in a big city, but this is surprisingly common. Constant, uninterrupted staring. Or when they get way too close to you when talking and kinda hover over top of you. Telling me personal things about myself. I had a guy at my old job mention that I took a different route to work one morning. Then he said a mix of letters and numbers. When I asked what that meant, he said, "That's your license plate, right?" Another time he was standing behind me at the time clock and said my clock in code before I entered it. Also, he cornered me in a room and tried to kiss me. It was so awkward because his wife was my supervisor, and I was his superior. I was the nurse and he was the CNA. On top of that, I was a new nurse and not at all comfortable in my role yet. I ended up telling my co-workers to keep us apart and make sure he didn't follow me into rooms after that last part. Very creepy. When a guy won't give you your space even when you implicitly or explicitly make it clear that you want your space. Without giving too many details, when I was younger, this sweet guy became creepy to me because he wouldn't leave me alone even when I said I wanted time to myself. If they can't respect your boundaries, get out and fast. Actually had a guy say, "I don't take no for an answer," to me after I told him I didn't want to go on a date with him. I walked away from him and back to my office. This was in a college campus building, had a horrible feeling the rest of the day. Fast forward to quitting time and I have to walk half a mile to the parking garage. I see a coworker about to head that way and asked if he didn't mind walking with me. Turns out the student followed us there and tried to get into my car when I unlocked it. Thank God I had my coworker with me who scared him away. My husband asked me out once. I asked him to take me home early as I had food poisoning. He assumed I was really not interested and backed way off. It was quite possibly one of the hottest things anyone has ever done for me. He respected a perceived rejection. It wasn't standing on my front porch for hours to surprise me when I finally left, creepy. Or tracking my class schedule to leave surprises, creepy. Or contacting my parents to request an arranged marriage, creepy. It definitely wasn't asking over and over until I got the police involved. Which are all things various men have thought would be romantic. Seeing that he backed off and was respectful, I simply had to ask him out and keep taking him out until he figured out I wasn't asking him as a friend and finally kissed me sometime after our fourth date. Respect is very attractive. When you can tell they don't look at you like a person but like a conquest. I have this guy at work who's a little weird, but every time he talks to me, it's like his preconceptions of who I am and what I think are all he sees. It's annoying. When much older men think that all the young women want to have sex with them. I've worked with a few men like this and it really creeps me out, especially when they look at a young woman and lick their lips. Saying things like "women like this" and "women don't like this," as if we're a hive mind, and you happen to know women's experiences better than them. I automatically assume you will get angry at me and start yelling or creeping if I breathe wrong, and cause a ruckus in public if I tell you to leave me alone. Listen, I won't pretend to know the pros and cons of being a lad, if you don't pretend to know the pros and cons of being a lass. It's complex, it varies per person, and if you have trouble getting in with the entirety of a group of people of the same sex, it's totally on you. Developing feelings too quickly. I understand what it's like to be a person who falls hard for people, but there's a line. Like when you're talking to someone on a dating website, you've only exchanged 3 messages and the guy says he loves you. That, or guys who try to give you shoulder rubs. No, random man, I don't want you to touch me. It's a multitude of aspects, and a lot of people have touched on some of the points. Another point is the nice guy expectations. There's a fine line between caring for your friends and, creepily, trying to take care of a girl. The difference is often in the intent. If you are nice to someone for any reason other than like common decency and basic care that you would give to any other person, it's creepy, awkward and heavy with ultimatum. Leaving notes on the windshield of your car. I've had at least a handful of guys do this, and let me tell you, it is not cute, it is not endearing, it is not, It is, however, you've creeped me enough to know what my car looks like, where my house is, where I work, and where I do my grocery shopping. Comments about my race: I'm Indian and the amount of times that a guy has called me exotic is disgusting. Like, stop, if you're going to compliment me, at least don't make it about my race or something. It would make my day if same guy said, hey, nice jacket, or I think you look nice today. Also, when I come to complain to you how some other guy is making me feel uncomfortable, don't invalidate my fears or use the maybe he's just socially awkward excuse. I'm coming to you because I'm a bit afraid/creeped out and want the support of my friends. One night I was walking home at night in a shady part of our city and some drunk guy was walking behind me talking loudly and sometimes directly to me. I stopped to let him walk in front of me. He said, "You don't need to be scared." That just freaked me out more. He continued walking, but come on, as if telling some stranger not to be scared doesn't ring all the alarm bells. Repeatedly calling us beautiful and comparing us to other women we know. Sure, it's cute if you're already in a relationship, but when you're not, it's actually really creepy. Especially if it's multiple times in one day.